grabbed my blankie and opened my bedroom window and screamed for my parents once again. My lungs quickly filled with smoke, and I gasped for breath as my coughing became raspy. Suddenly, my bedroom door opened and a man entered my room. He scooped me up and ran outside with me. Immediately, he handed me over to the paramedics who placed an oxygen mask on my face. The sirens of the ambulance faded as I drifted out of consciousness. My life doesn't have a happy beginning, but if you want to know how it ends, don't run away. Keep watching. It gets interesting. Trust me. That fire happened when I was 5. I'm now 16. My parents died in the hospital, and after spending weeks in the hospital with severe effects from smoke inhalation, I was placed in a group home. At 5, I couldn't understand why the kids were so mean.
Crying again, are we?
A chubby kid named Duke laughed as he walked up to the window I was sitting in front of. I turned my back to him and he grabbed me by the shoulder and spun me around. In the process, one of the legs on the chair broke and I fell to the ground with a thud. I cried out. A 9-year-old boy named Clint ran towards me and helped me to my feet.
Why don't you pick on someone your own size?
Clint growled at Duke. Duke laughed menacingly and raised an eyebrow.
Like you, maggot!
Duke was twice the size of Clint, and I didn't want him to get hurt. Duke tried to punch Clint in his face, but Clint was agile and he dodged every punch and kick Duke attempted. Clint quickly got Duke to the window where he swiftly lifted Duke's legs and toppled him out the window. The other kids at the group home rushed to see Duke scrambling out of the rose bushes underneath the window. From that day forward, Clint and I were inseparable. When Clint turned 18, he enrolled in the army. After Clint left, I got into a lot of fights at the group home and ran away at age 14. Life on the streets was tough. Eventually, a group of street kids took me in and we helped protect and feed each other. The leader's name was Terry. He had been living on the streets since he was 8. These kids were my family for 2 years. During the day, a few of us would go hunting for food while the rest of us would guard the abandoned house. As I sat on the stoop, a luxury car pulled up and the window. During the day, a few of us would go hunting for food while the rest of us would guard the abandoned house. As I sat on the stoop, a luxury car pulled up and the window rolled down. Pleasant face of a middle-aged man with a graying hairline and dazzling smile peered out.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
I ain't no ma'am. I looked at him curiously. What was a car like this doing in this kind of neighborhood?
So then, shall I call you by your name, Nicolette?
How did you know my name? The man ignored my question.
So, Nicolette, I've got some good news for you. I'm here to adopt you.
I rolled my eyes. Is this a prank? Did Terry put you up to this? Although I don't know where he would have been able to get the money to hire a preppy guy like you.
Nicolette, let me assure you that I have no idea who this Terry guy is. I am here because your cousin, Princess Cecilia of Monaco, has been looking for you for years. I'm here to take you away from this dreaded place.
During our conversation, the rest of the gang came back. Hey, Terry, catch this joker. Apparently, my princess cousin wants to adopt me. A serious look came over Terry's face. He approached the car and spoke with the man while I chatted with the rest of the gang. Terry turned to me. It's time for you to leave. Trust me. I nodded and hugged the rest of the gang before Terry opened the car door for me and I sat inside. The man handed Terry an envelope, smiled, and rolled up the window. As we drove out of the neighborhood, I asked, what was in the envelope?
Money. Just a small thank you for keeping you safe.
The gentleman introduced himself as Stan. About 30 minutes later, we pulled up to the front gate of a beautiful house. As we drove through the golden gates, there was a garden to the left and a pool and tennis court to the right. Once the car pulled up in front of the house, a plump, gray-haired lady ran down the steps to greet us. Stan and I hopped out of the car, and the driver drove away.
Nicolette, this is Mrs. Lane, the housekeeper.
Stan and I hopped out of the car, and the driver drove away.
Nicolette, this is Mrs. Lane, the housekeeper. She runs this household like a well-oiled machine.
Welcome, Madam Nicolette. Come on, let's get you cleaned up and put some food in that stomach of yours. As Mrs. Lane led me through the many hallways that led to my room, she chatted about how great it was to have me there. And this is your room, Madam Nicolette. Mrs. Lane turned the knob and opened the door before she stepped aside and let me in the room. There are clothes in the closet, and everything you need to freshen up is in your personal bathroom. As soon as you're ready, please find your way to the dining room. It's so great to have you back, Madam Nicolette. Mrs. Lane quickly closed the door behind her. I wonder what she meant by have me back. My thoughts were completely lost as I searched through the closet for an outfit and passed my fingertips along the expensive furniture. After I took a shower, I threw on one of the outfits from the closet. I was tall, and being on the streets, I was rather thin, so the clothes didn't fit right. But honestly, at that point, I was just happy to wear clean clothes. After 15 minutes of what felt like walking through a series of mazes, I finally found the dining room. Oh, there you are, Nicolette. Oh, I was just about to send the cavalry for you. The aroma of the food made me drool. After I had eaten as much as I could, Stan told me that he had to organize my paperwork before I could leave the country, and Princess Celia was expecting me in 2 weeks. Finally, the day came, and we arrived at the palace in Monaco. Fun fact, in Monaco, the official language is French, although Monegasque, Italian, and English are spoken and understood by a sizable group. I turned to Stan. Does this mean I have to learn French?
Yes, Nicolette. Your tutors will arrive next week to begin your classes.
I smiled mischievously. Or can I hire a translator? Stan laughed. We stopped at a large door.
Are you ready to meet Princess Celia?
I nodded and flattened my clothes nervously, my heart fluttering like a frightened bird in a cage. Stan opened the door and motioned for me to go inside and closed the door behind me. Nicolette! I nodded. Princess Celia ran towards me and embraced me. Closed the door behind me. Nicolette! I nodded. Princess Celia ran towards me and embraced me. Thank God! We finally found you! I'm Princess Celia, but you can call me Sisi. What do you mean you finally found me? We've been looking for you ever since we heard about that dreadful incident with your parents. We're cousins! Please accept my condolences. Thank you, but did you say cousins?
Yes, your dad was my dad's younger brother. My dad was a king of Monaco, but sadly, my parents also passed away a few months ago.
I'm so sorry. I held Cece's hand. I have the best advisory team in Monaco any princess could ask for. I'm just glad we found you in time. In 3 months, it will be my 18th birthday, and I'll also be crowned Queen of Monaco. Let's find somewhere quiet so we can catch up. I was quite happy in Monaco. Most of the day, Cece was surrounded by the advisors, and, well, she was the only person at the palace around my age. Many days after classes, I explored the palace and climbed the trees in the palace garden. While exploring one day, I found a huge metal door behind one of the tapestries in the forbidden part of the palace. I pushed the door, but it was locked. No worries, though. I quickly found tools to pick the locks. My street days finally proved to be useful. I heard the lock click, pushed the door open, slid inside, and closed the door behind me. Before me, a spiral staircase descended. The staircase was dark, and I pressed my hand against the cold wall to guide me. Eventually, I came to a dimly lit circular room where there were large metal gates. Cool! The palace has a dungeon!
Hello? Who's there? A woman's voice called from one of the cells. Sorry. I backed away slowly. I didn't expect to find anyone here. I'll be leaving now. Please, don't leave. The woman and a man appeared before the gate. Who are you? This time, the man spoke. And a man appeared before the gate. Who are you? This time, the man spoke. Where's Cece's parents? My jaw dropped. Cece told me her parents died. I can assure you, the man said, we are still very much alive. If you're Cece's parents, why are you locked down here? Cece's mother went on to tell me that after the real king and queen had passed away, they ruled the kingdom. However, about a year ago, things changed drastically, and Cece bribed her way to the throne. She told the citizens that they had died, and only a handful of servants know they are here. Cece has another dungeon where she keeps the families of the people who know her alive. She told them if they ever told anyone, they will never see their families again. But that doesn't sound like Cece. You're lying. I backed away. Actually, they aren't. But thank you for believing in me. I spun around and there stood Cece. A look of disgust worn on her face and 2 palace guards. You've made this quite easy, Nicolette. I heard a sharp gasp escape from Cece's mother's lips. Open the gate so they might enjoy their family reunion. I struggled against the guards, but it was no use. Cece grabbed my tools from my hands and I was thrown into the cell with Cece's parents. Great! Now I have to get rid of all of you and take my rightful place as Queen of Monaco! Cece laughed deviously and left the dungeon with the palace guards following close behind. Cece's mother ran and hugged me. Oh, Nicolette, is it really you? But how? The fire? We thought you all perished. Cece's father took my hand. It doesn't matter. The true queen has returned. Queen? I croaked out the word. Yes, queen. Your father, my brother, was older and crowned king. When he died, we thought you were dead as well. I became the king. I am your Uncle Frederick, and this is your aunt. My wife, your aunt. My wife, Amy. But how are we going to get out? Over the next few days, I spent time in the cell with Cece's parents. Not one servant dared to help us. When they found out who I really was, they ran out of the dungeon. Nicolette, wake up! Aunt Amy hissed in my ears. Someone's coming! I woke up, and Aunt Amy shielded me with her body. I'm sorry it took us so long. Stan! I ran from behind Aunt Amy, but Aunt Amy pulled me back. He's one of the guards who locked us away in this dungeon. And I'm also the reason you're not dead, Stan said, as he unlocked the gate and opened it for us to escape. I trust him. Come on, we don't have much time. Uncle Frederick took Aunt Amy's hand and we followed Stan out of the dungeon. At the door, we were greeted by palace guards sworn to protect us. You 3, get them to a safe place. The rest of you, come with me. Any unloyal guard is to be rounded up and thrown into the dungeon, Stan instructed. Let's go to the old stables. There's a secret room built in, Aunt Amy suggested. We all ran towards the stables, and once inside, Aunt Amy snatched me. We were surrounded by guards. Our guards were disarmed and forced to lie down on the floor. Cece walked out from one of the stables. Amy, what the heck are you doing? Uncle Frederick cried out. Doing what I should have done a long time ago. She snatched one of the swords from the palace guards and stuck it into Uncle Frederick's stomach. No! I cried. Cece, honey, you will be the rightful heir to Monaco. Not if we can help it. My eyes widened. Terry and a troop of soldiers stood at the entrance. Now, traitors, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. The
palace guards stepped in front of Cece, Aunt Amy, and me. "Come on, girls!" Aunt Amy said. "We'll escape through the back!" As Aunt Amy tried to run, Uncle Frederick grabbed her leg and she tripped.